Hello, and welcome to the Wade Borth podcast. I'm your host, Wade Borth, and in every episode, my goal is to get you to think differently about how money works and ultimately to empower you to take control of your money and your personal financing system. So why do people make silly choices and have silly things, or let's call them silly. I don't like the word stupid. Why do silly things happen when we make silly choices? That's the big question. And a lot of times it's because we don't know any better or we've never given it any thought. This goes back to the whole idea of groupthink or conditioned thinking, right? So we think something is a certain way and we just don't give it a whole lot of thought, and we've just done it that way forever, and we've never given it a whole lot of deep pondering thought and say, why do I do what I'm doing? Now, we don't do this in everything in life, but it happens a lot of times. And one of the big things I want to discuss today, why do we put money in a retirement plan, a 401k, IRA, whatever it might be, and we've never given it a whole lot of thought? And so there's a lot of things to discuss around this. The first one is, the government creates this problem called overtaxation. And then they give you the solution, which is an exemption called a 401k or an IRA. So let's think about that for a second. Just let that ponder in your brain for just 1 second. They created the problem and they're providing the solution. Who's in control of your money? Who's in control of what's happening in your life? And why do they do that? That's the big question. That's how we should approach a lot of things in life. Question it like, okay, who's in control? Why are they doing what they're doing? There's the old adage says, follow the money. And this is exactly what's happening in a 401k situation. Now, am I against a 401k? If that's what you want to do and you built money in a 401k, hey, that's great. But let's have a conversation about distribution, what are some other opportunities, other options maybe we can talk about. And then if you're in that point where you're 6 months away from retirement and you've got a lot of money stored in your 401k, I say congratulations. Congratulations, because you've been very disciplined to put money away. You've sacrificed and you've gone without, so in order to have that money in your 401k, so congratulations. But what if there was a better way? Now, if you're 6 months away from retirement, maybe the discussion is, what else can we do? And we can maximize those dollars here at Sage Wealth Strategy as well. So when you do get to retirement, we can provide, and again, we're talking about empowering you to take control of that function in your life. So we can empower you to maximize those dollars the best possible way. But what if there's something that could take you back 20 years and we hop on the Wayback Machine and we go back 20 years and we can have this discussion? And this is the discussion I would have with somebody that's just ready for retirement. Now, again, we can't change the past, but this is what I would have a conversation with the younger you. Or if you're 25 or 30 years old, this is the exact conversation I would have with you today. I would say, where do you think tax rates are going to go in the future? Do you have any idea where they might go? Most people are going to say, I don't have a clue. I look at the national debt. I look at how much money this country owes. I look at the government's propensity to want to spend. My own personal beliefs is that they probably have to go up, right? And I think everybody would agree with that. And then I would say at age 30 or age 25 or age 35 or even 40 or 45, is your income going to be more or less in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years? And if you have this abundance mindset, again, those are the people that work with me, that I work with, are those that have an abundance mindset. You have to believe that you're going to earn more in the future than you're earning today. So tax rates are going to go up and you're going to earn more in the future. So why are we taking our most valuable dollar, locking it up today so we can't have access to it for the next 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it might be? We're at the lowest tax rate that we're probably ever going to see in our lives, because where the tax rates are now and our income is probably the lowest it's going to be. Hopefully that's the case. And we're deferring that tax to a time where it's going to be a lot more expensive. Tax rates are going to be higher and your income is going to be a whole lot higher. Your desire for income is going to be a whole lot higher. So let's think about that for a second, because what have we heard? What is the industry? What is the financial entertainers telling us? Well, when you get to retirement, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. All I would say is, God, I hope not. If you're working with me and you're working with somebody that understands what's going on, our job is to have you have the most possible income that you can absolutely have at retirement. I don't ever want to put you in a position where you have less income at retirement than you have. That seems silly to me. That's a scarcity mindset. Let's talk about abundance. Let's have the most possible income that you absolutely can have at retirement, because that's what you want. You want a passive income. Now, the strategies that we'll talk about and the strategies we'll put together to make them the most tax efficient as possible. But when you get to retirement, you're going to, just because of inflation over the next 30 years, your income is going to be higher than it is today. Well, hopefully you've advanced in your understanding, your knowledge, your position in life, all the things that put you in a much higher income bracket. And more than likely, government's going to raise those rates on those same brackets. So again, if I'm 25 years old, I'm making $50,000 and I'm in the 10% tax bracket. You're not even in the 10% tax bracket at that rate. But if you're in the 10% tax bracket and you say, oh, I'm going to put money in my 401k. Now, I've lost the use and control of that money for the next 25 years, 30 years. And B, when I get to be 65 and I start pulling that money out, the rates are going to be a whole lot higher just because of where my income is and where the government's going to put their tax brackets. So am I telling you not to put money in your 401k? No, I'm not telling you that at all. I'm just asking you to think about why you're doing it. Let's ask the question, why are you doing it? Let's give this some deliberate thought. I'm not here to tell you to put it there, not put it there, take the match. That's the discussion I want you to have with yourself. And again, my job isn't to be the gatekeeper. My job is to empower you. Part of empowering you is to help you understand what's going on, because if people know what's going on, they'll know what to do. But a lot of times nobody's ever told them the story of what's going on. That's my job, is to come back here and say, let me tell you the story of what's going on. So I would ask you that you reach out to us and say, hey, Wade, what's going on? Help us understand what's going on so we know what to do. I would love to have that discussion. Am I ever going to tell you not to put money in your 401k? No. I'll tell you what I did. Am I going to tell you to pull your money out? I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm just going to give you enough information. I'm going to give you the information you need to make an informed decision. Because I don't believe that's happening today. Because it's all about groupthink. It's all about the same process. Put your money in 401k. Even at the start of 2023, new legislation says automatically, unless you tell somebody not to put money in a 401k and you start a new job, they will automatically start you in a 401k without your consent. It's crazy how much money they want to force in there. And why do they want to do it? They want to do it because the money managers on Wall Street want to take control of your money for the next 30 or 40 years, and they can charge you 1%, 1.5% on your money each and every year for the next 30 years. Think about that for an income stream for these people on Wall Street. Wouldn't it be better if you had control of it? Again, that's probably a discussion we can have separately. But I want you to start thinking about, why are we doing what we're doing? Again, aligning your actions with your belief system. Now, if your belief system says, hey, I want to put money in my 401k and that's what I want to do, well, then, hey, that's great. But have you ever really thought about why you want to do that? So again, it comes back down to aligning your actions with what your beliefs are and just really getting you to think, because that's one of the first steps to the principles of prosperity, is start to think. Think about why you're doing that action. Because again, most people just doing it because they haven't given it any thought. Somebody told them to do that, so that's what they did. And they've been doing it for the next 30 or 40 years. That's how crazy this thing is. Once people get into that habit, they just do it without any thoughts. And then when they get to the end of the game, it's too late to go back and replay the game. So let's start thinking about how the game ends and then start taking actions today. So reach out to us, drop me an email, Wade@SageWealthStrategy, or hop on our website and hop on my calendar to book an appointment, so we can just talk about what the end game looks like and what are the strategies that we're using in order to get there. And if a 401k and these other investments make sense for you, then at least you understand it and you're going in with knowledge versus ignorant. And so that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to help you understand what the end is and just have you open your mind up and think a little bit and say, does this make sense? Does this align with my values? If you're enjoying this podcast or know anyone else that might be interested, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and please leave a review. This will help this podcast reach and help more people by ranking higher in searches, and ultimately help more people get out of financial bondage. And don't be afraid to share this podcast with your friends and family, as we can be easily found on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.